Over on the supply chain side, MacRumors is reporting, according to a series of tweets from Ming-Chi Kuo this week, that Apple has asked their second supplier of AirPods Pro production, Goertek, to stop assembly due to some production issues. It sounds like they're struggling a little bit. So Apple's main supplier, Luxshare, will reportedly step up their production, hopefully to ensure that Apple doesn't lose too much production time, especially moving into the critical holiday season. You know, we have an AirPods Pro update with AirPods Pro 2, and they are amazing. I love mine and a lot of the new technologies. And so I would imagine that's going to be a big holiday item. And as we know, just overall, supply chain's been struggling over the past year or so, a little bit longer. And so this could impact Apple a little bit, but again, Luxshare jumping in, and hopefully it doesn't cause too much disruption. Speaking of AirPods Pro, rather, there was also a new firmware update this week. So if you have AirPods Pro, AirPods Max, the original AirPods, AirPods 3, any version, there is new firmware out. Now, Apple does not provide any details on what's in there beyond simply saying the very non-specific, there are bug fixes and other improvements. But 9 to 5 Mac recently mentioned reports of users with surround sound audio drifting issues and audio syncing issues. And I think I've heard from a few folks in the MacCast community that they've been having some struggles with their AirPods. So there is a new version out. You don't really have a way to update it. It should happen automatically. You can check to see what current version you are on. So the new version is 5B58. So if you want to check that, what you can do is you can connect your AirPods Pro to an iOS device and then go into settings, tap on general, tap about, and then tap on the AirPods, and then you should be able to look next to the version number and just confirm that you have the latest version. So if you have been struggling a little bit with some audio issues, you might want to just make sure that it's downloaded and updated, that firmware version. Now, over on the iOS side, there does seem to be a possible change coming. This is something that 9 to 5 Mac noticed in iOS 16.1.1 and the iOS 16.2 beta, but specifically for China. It's related to AirDrop. If you use AirDrop, you probably know that you have a couple different options. You can turn AirDrop discovery off completely. You can set it up to be contacts only, so that only folks in your contacts can airdrop you items, or there's also an option for everyone. And the everyone option is a little bit dangerous because if you're out and about, people can airdrop you things without your knowledge. Of course, you get the notification, but you also get a little preview. And yeah, there have been some stories of people getting some not so friendly airdrops, not realizing that they have that setting on. So supposedly, in iOS 16.1.1 and iOS 16.2 beta in China, Apple has added a new everyone for 10 minutes option. So when you select that, it'll make it available for everyone, but then disable it after 10 minutes, which is kind of nice. And it reportedly was added in China after protesters used AirDrop to spread anti-government materials. So some of the allegations are that Apple is kind of caving to China once again, and the government in China. Part of doing business, unfortunately, but yeah, it does get some folks pretty upset. But Apple told Bloomberg's Mark Gurman that they actually plan to roll out the feature for everyone this year in an effort to stop what I'm going to call air bombing or airdrop spamming. But I like air bombing, right? You get air bombed with something you're not expecting. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you. Never happened to me, luckily, but I did when I read this story, and you might want to do this yourself. I went and checked, and I actually had my AirDrop set to everyone. I don't remember when I did that. I always try to remember to flip it back to contacts only or turn it off completely, but it was set that way on my iPhone. So I went and changed it, and hopefully this new feature will come out because I like that idea, that it's kind of a temporary thing. You generally only want everyone set temporarily anyway, so probably a good little enhancement, and it sounds like it's not going to be just a China-only feature, which is, I think, a good thing. And then Apple also officially announced this week a software update for iOS for iPhone 14 models, that they're going to be bringing that new emergency satellite SOS feature to the US and Canada, and that's going to be happening later this month. They came out with an official press release, an official announcement and statement saying, yeah, it will be turned on later this month. At the same time, they also announced that they're going to be using about $450 million of their advanced manufacturing fund to help further develop the infrastructure and support for that feature. Of course, a good portion of that funding is believed to be going to Apple's launch partner for the feature, Globalstar. So they're going to be able to roll out more satellites, more coverage in more remote areas around the planet with that investment. So if you've been waiting for that feature, it should be coming out again later this month. And I think a couple weeks ago, we heard that Apple was actually going to roll out a sort of demo feature. So you'll be able to try it out and not actually trigger an actual emergency SOS, because obviously you don't want to do that, but you'll be able to kind of see how it works and see how it functions and that sort of thing. So that'll be very interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about that on a future episode of the MacCast once that rolls out.